that a challenge?
Temper.
I wouldn't dream of challenging you.
If you're a fan of The Lion King as much as I am, you've undoubtedly observed that the entire universe has witnessed its fair share of awkward situations. Prematurely trampled animals who seem to have no luck whatsoever. We witnessed everything, but these 15 humiliating incidents particularly jumped out at me. Get off to a solid start with 15. This gets us to one of Zazu's most famous moments, and humiliating one in the entire Lion King realm. He is well known for his role as the royal advisor who bestows the every day in the morning report. This day though, I believe he wishes he hadn't. Is Mufasa being informed by you? Simba, Mufasa, a lesson on pouncing with laughter. Great. Being pounced on by a young cub was probably not something Zazu wanted to experience, given his inflated sense of self-importance. How about Mufasa? For it, he sings Simba's praises. He thinks it's great. Zazu is likely wondering, what about my dignity? The time has come to stop using Zazu as a dummy. This, nevertheless, is far from the worst, as you may be aware. Situation in which he finds himself. And now we reach the 14th, when Scar imprisons Zazu in a skeletal cage. Could things be any worse for him? Disintegration has set in on the Pride Lands. It is a sad world, and where is Zazu? He is compelled to sing for Scar's amusement while confined to a small cage made of bone, but he is aware of my anguish. Come on Zazu, be more cheerful. Find a tune that has a little jive to it. Indeed, the planet is quite small. Well, that's certainly not the case. The song, I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts, is Zazu's last obligation. Scar hops along as if he's at a bizarre karaoke party. What an awful experience this must have been for Zazu. Once a proud announcer of the morning report, the bird is now little more than Scar's personal jukebox. I doubt this was his original intention when he applied for the post of royal advisor. Now let's jump to number 13 and see how Simba was faring under Scar's rule. The Hakuna Matata way of life was great for him, but the cuisine wasn't exactly lion approved. Oh no, was that? Little bugger. How does it appear? Gross. You are poor kitty. Bugs replaced his former diet of whatever lions eat. Unfortunately for tiny Simba, it appeared that Timon had no plans to go out and catch a zebra on his behalf, so in the end, he gave it a go. Hakuna Matata, slimy, musical piece. I find it fulfilling. Simba, I'm aware. Your expression before you forced yourself to swallow it was visible to everyone. What a precipitous decline, via a life of bug eating to that of a future king. When Mufasa saw his cub eating bugs, he must have felt terrible. It was probably embarrassing. The fact that it began his Hakuna Matata lifestyle is the silver lining though. It wasn't all terrible, I suppose. Now we reach number 12. Poor Makini is attempting to hold on to her crew for more than just one day. Makini is Rafiki's chatty apprentice, as any Lion Guard viewer can tell you. Also, she tends to misplace her Bakura staff every once in a while due to her habit of talking non-stop. As Haney began her preparation to succeed her father as Pride Land's royal and Jewy, she made a concerted effort to maintain her composure and concentration, but if you've witnessed her performance, you're probably aware of the customary outcome. She would be assisting with an attack or attempting to recount an old tale when all of a sudden, she would ask, "Where is my staff?" Again, there it is. Furthermore, she did not intentionally act carelessly. Whatever she looked at, something was in a state of disarray. Either someone needed her assistance, or she became quite enthusiastic about something, causing her to speak non-stop. It still appeared to happen at the most inconvenient times every time. His determination to succeed was evident. Rafiki was her hero, and she aspired to be just like him. The wise person, not the staff, is the one who possesses wisdom, and Rafiki was patient enough to convince her of this. Learning takes time, and he knew Makini had the right attitude. Nonetheless, I have a feeling that she wished she could vanish for an instant every time she misplaced the staff. As we proceed to number 11, we witness Kion's roar in its most extreme form, assuming the role of Lion King. A magical roar that can genuinely blast things away is added to Guard's already formidable toughness. Ushari biting Kion left him with a scar, and poor Kion just couldn't control it sometimes. Do you recall the time his shout caused a volcano to erupt by accident? You may recall that he also embarrassed himself by losing control of his voice when he became angry with Bunga. It becomes much worse later on, but I'll forgive him for that now, as Bunga is obnoxious at times. On excuse me? Describe it. His prospective brother-in-law was completely floored by him. A lioness will be impressed. As soon as Ronnie arrived to inform him that they were guardians of the Tree of Life, he looked ashamed. Despite Balio's doubts, Ronnie was gracious enough to provide Kion a second chance, which was a stroke of luck for him. Kion, though, merely wished to recover. His emotions were somewhat out of control, but he has an explanation. Now that we've taken care of Kion, let's go on to number 10. Why don't we have a conversation about number 10? On Timoni's monumental failure in his hyena duties. Anyone who has watched both parts of The Lion King knows that Timon wasn't always our beloved Hakuna Matata meerkat. Like the rest of his family, he was compelled to dig tunnels daily. Unfortunately, Jamon wasn't exactly a handyman and repeatedly ruined the tunnels. He had had enough. As a result, his Uncle Max assigned him the task of keeping an eye out for hyenas. Yep, if you spot a hyena approaching, perch on a rock and keep your eyes peeled. How complicated is it? Okay, according to Timon, it was the ideal moment for him to fantasize and sing about his ideal future. Not cool at all. It is hyena time, our magnificent dream. Behold, this is it. A supper is stashed on a shelf. Watch out for danger. That is your only job. However, you prioritize performance. Timon, you rocked it. However, the hyenas were overjoyed by this display since it gave them the green light to assault his entire colony. His colony, you would say, wasn't very impressed by this performance. His mom was let down and his Uncle Max was on the verge of losing it. I had faith in you was the worst thing that could have happened. What a humiliating situation that must have been. If you mess up even the most basic task, the entire colony will be watching. So it was no surprise that Timon departed. And now we reach number 9. During the last showdown at Pride Rock, Timon and Zazu were cornered in a cage by Shenzi and Bonsai when they saw the hyenas again. Just when Timon thinks everything is lost, Pumbaa shows up to rescue the day. Who is the pig anyway? Do I have your attention, sir? No way. They refer to him as the pig. Are you addressing me? I regret doing that. Do I have your attention, sir? At last they're about to find out. I am referred to as Mr. Pig by certain individuals. That is the most you were able to devise. You don't stop to consider whether it might be wise not to disrespect the 300-pound warthog that is rushing at you. Timon and Zazu were rescued by Pumbaa after he kicked their behinds rather hard. However, in my opinion, Bonsai was embarrassed by this. At first, you opt to pursue the meerkat alone, rather than joining the lionesses in battle. Second, beating Pumbaa to a pulp isn't even possible if you manage to get him. When still, 2 hyenas you were. Timon and Pumbaa still managed to pull off a respectable outcome, but it wasn't without its share of embarrassing moments. Number 8 on the list is the occasion when Pumbaa and Timon were used as live bait. The hyenas appeared to be the ideal pawns to use when Simba sought to evade the Pride Rock Guardians and divert their attention. In his characteristic dramatic mirth, Timon proposed the most absurd scheme imaginable. So what's the deal? Get dolled up and shimmy around, craving some fatty meat and delicious succulent beef. A Pumbaa descends. Standing in line is all that's required of you. Simba thought this was a brilliant idea, so maybe you should consider your words more carefully in the future. Was likely dying on the inside, as Pumbaa sat there promoting dinner with an apple in his mouth. Wow, it was quite uncomfortable. Their shame wasn't in vain though, so that's something. That was successful. Simba sneaked by the hyenas because they were too perplexed by the strange dinner spectacle to notice him. Continuing on to number 7, we are transported to Scar's past during his younger years. Had a deep affection for Sarabi and went by the name of Taka. Yes, that's correct. Sarabi rejected young Taka's advances and instead chose Mufasa, although he would later grow into the evil we all despise. What am I currently listening to? Just what were you saying? It's you who's speaking. Sure I am. You have an unpleasant odor. Excuse me? I see why this compliment wouldn't sway you to choose Taka. That must have been extremely embarrassing for him. Since Sarabi failed to notice Taka after that, things just became worse. Sprang to his feet and headed straight for Mufasa. Alright, I'll stop now. My eyes are tired of staring at it. Next up is number 6. The time Janya's own crew betrayed him must be discussed. Janja isn't exactly the Outland's most intelligent hyena, as anyone who has watched Lion Guard can attest. However, this level of embarrassment was unprecedented. Do you recall the day he expelled Che and Chungu from his tribe in a fit of rage because they had thwarted his plans? Who, if anyone, does he choose to succeed them? Tano and Ni, they were the worst hiring ever, while appearing stronger and sharper. The new hyenas betrayed him right away, abandoning him in the middle of their own hunting expedition. Even if Janjo is stuck, he doesn't give up lightly. Lay out your strategy. Poor enough. I am thrust off a precipice. Even I refuse to accept responsibility. The new men came up with the idea. The idea is that you should go for the Analopes while we go after the Oryx. How humiliating for Janjo when it seemed like it was finally going to happen. Had the hyenas a brilliant scheme? He had no intelligence to aid them or recognize their pranks. The worst thing was that the Lion Guard had to come to Yanja's rescue. It is quite humiliating. If you fail to value your devoted but dim-witted followers, this is the result. Now we reach the 5th point. The 3 hyenas were in the middle of a cub sandwich encircling young Simba and Nala when Mufasa unexpectedly showed up after humiliating Shenzi, Bonsai, and Ed in the elephant graveyard. Excuse me? Oh, I beg you, I beg you. Their response is considerably more humiliating than Mufasa's swats at them. This is your boy, oh my. Which one? Warned you, was that so? Number am I? I had no idea. I thought so. Oh, absolutely not. Editor Ed, you're certainly not making things easier. The tough man persona was beginning to crumble, and they began pleading with the principal. Oh, please, please, uncle. It was like witnessing a school bully's transformation into a total crybaby. Even if I tried, I still can't look at them for more time. Now we reach number 4, which leads us to an incredibly uncomfortable father-daughter scenario. Simba's parents are too protective of him. It seems like Kiara can't escape her dad's relentless pursuit. If he weren't the one who trailed after her, he'd have Pumbaa and Timon watch the kids. Do you recall her initial hunt? Her anticipation of proving herself was palpable. Now, what exactly does Simba do? Pumbaa and Tim Stamoni are dispatched to pursue her incognito. What could possibly be more humiliating for a teen? Lady Lion, you should endeavor to prove to everyone how mature and competent you are. Plus, your dad's pals are observing you from the safety of the bushes. Well, cutting. A few decorative pillows, a pelt for the living room, and a potpourri were all things we considered. You came from my father. He deceived me after saying he would let me handle it alone. He simply wants to make sure you're not hurt. He would never give me a fair shot, and I should have anticipated that. Also, his reaction to her meeting Kovu is absolutely priceless. Seriously, Simba, give the girl some freedom previously owned. Shame is definitely a thing, seeing Kiara's father treat her like a cub despite her efforts to be self-reliant. The third most embarrassing thing that happened to Zazu was when a rhino sat on him. As the song "I Can't Wait to Be King" plays, a massive rhino pounces on Zazu and pins him under its massive rear end. One second you're serving as the royal counsel to the king, and the next you find yourself shackled beneath the butt of a rhino. What a precipitous decline. Worse, this occurs immediately following his. Totally lost sight of Nala and Simba. He gets humiliated in front of the Pride Lands after failing miserably in his sole responsibility of keeping an eye on the prince. It's humiliating. Okay, I'll go on to number 2 because I just can't stand to look at this one more. The second item on our list is Scar's attempt to mate with Nala, which was one of the most unsettling and terrifying scenes. You may recognize this from the musical or the deleted scene. It was cut from the final cut. Play the role of Scar. The throne is now yours. You're beginning to understand the importance of having an heir, but no one pays you any attention, and you've always wanted it nonetheless. Now tell me, what's your amazing scheme? Make an effort to impose your will on the best buddy of your nephew. His words about having small scars running around to me scream desperation. We'll leave behind a trail of tiny wounds. Please, tell me. I now understand why Nala is so frightened of him. On the other hand, can you fathom how terrible that was for Scar? He continues to reign as king, receives a flat rejection. Scar has hit rock bottom at this time. Nala would prefer to escape the Pride Lands than confront his weird approaches. He is that pitiful. Last but not least, Kovu's public banishment in The Lion King 2. Simba's pride is, without a doubt, the most humiliating event in the entire Lion King universe. This is beyond horrific. It's humiliating as well. The innocent Kovu is accused of ambushing Simba. Simba stages a public trial and everyone shows up, even though he is innocent. As if it weren't terrible enough, together they begin to sing "Not One of Us" as they forcefully remove him from the Pride Lands. How humiliating must that have been? All the animals in the Pride Lands, lions, zebras, elephants, elephants are gathering around you, singing your demise. They're basically making a laundry list of all the ways you don't fit in. Oh, and Kovu's expression, his pain and bewilderment at discovering that everyone he had begun to care about now hates him, are palpable. The most unfortunate aspect is that he was completely blameless. The real reason he was evolving was Kiara, who was then humiliated in front of all eyes after being wrongly implicated. Obviously, this is the most humiliating experience we've ever had, but as you may be aware, the world of The Lion King contains other humiliating instances. You may be curious about what else I discovered if you have reached this point in the video. However, I suppose my naivete prevented me from ranking it in the top 15. Do you recall how Binga won the smell-off competition from Bunga, being surpassed in stenchiness by another creature in the Pride Lands? The most stinky of all, and that was just the beginning. Binga utterly crushed him in every category. A sound? Alright, Binga. Congratulations, you've won. Consider the time Zazu inadvertently admitted to harboring feelings for a flamingo. I'll take the lead. An affair with a flamingo occurred in my past. No one ever heard me say that. Please, Zazu, don't give me so much knowledge. Way too much data. As soon as he let that little secret out, I bet he regretted it. And who can forget Bestie's plight as she sought companionship at the Tree of Life? His awe at what he saw caused him to let Paw down on occasion. However, the creatures in the Tree of Life were unaware that Bestie uses such expression whenever he is impressed. What they didn't realize was that Bestie accidentally wrecked their houses. Even though Bashi was merely attempting to form friendships, they quickly began to refer to him as Poa the Destroyer. If Poa the Destroyer cannot be exterminated, the Tree of Life will perish. For Beezy, one of the Lion Guard's kindest creatures, I find this more tragic than humiliating. He had no say in becoming this large, and he had no intention of causing harm. In the end though, everything worked out for the best, and Bestie even made some new pals. That concludes our countdown of the 15 most humiliating moments from the Lion King canon. Leave a comment below if you think I should delve more into the reasons that weren't included in the top 15, since I have plenty more. Tell me the most cringeworthy part. Have I omitted any unpleasant incidents that you believe ought to have been included? Post a comment and tell me. On the ground. Plus, if you thought this movie was entertaining, I made another one using the same format, this time featuring the 12 most ridiculous moments from the Lion King canon. You won't want to miss any of our new videos, so be sure to check that one out and hit that notification bell. Until then, I shall see you again